Yeah.
So this was your setup on the left-hand one, now you're before.
Yeah.
If you just sort of roll to setup, now we're getting the sort of stuff. This sort of moving out with the club is sort of lifting up and down as your fingers playing on the grip, trying to find a comfort spot. And we can see now quite clearly from here that your hands are very much kind of behind the centre. And yeah, exactly. And then so your head now at this point is already ahead of the golf ball.
Yeah.
And as we said, with any other sport, when you threw that red ball or kick a ball or throw a punt or anything, everything's going to be your head to be behind the object you're kicking or throwing or whatever it may be, or hitting with a golf ball. Tennis ball, tennis racket, hit the ball in front of you, not behind you, okay? Yeah. To do it behind you, you've got to do a lot of wrist and trying to exaggerate, okay?
I think perhaps the biggest thing for me now is learning.
This setup is your biggest thing, because I think there was a couple of times you went, I'm there, and you went, oh, no. So this is obviously a shorter swing, but you'll see now, so this is the sequence, okay? Yeah. Feet together, club by your left thigh. So your club now is basically on your left thigh there, fine. Good start position, okay? Then you bring your hands, say your feet want to start setting beforehand, I'm like, no, put your feet back together again. Yeah. But you tip now with your shoulders, there. So your head now goes behind the ball, then you put your feet back together again. And then the last thing we do once your spine's set is we set our feet. So now at this position, we have got head behind the ball, hands in front. As we said, bookend the golf ball, okay? Hands this side, head that side, okay? That's kind of the sort of visual look. Feet could go a little bit wider, but otherwise not the big swing anyway. As we now swing this club, as we said, you've kind of already pre-set a bit of an angle there, whereas here, there's no angle. So there's a bit more hinge already started. So when you go back, you weren't thinking about hinging the wrist. Exactly, As you go back now, that sort of lifting this club here, you've got to be careful to move the club back. The hands now are starting to move back a little bit there. That wasn't too bad in terms of takeaway. You weren't thinking about hinging your wrist, but there's still a 90-degree wrist hinge there. Oh, it's a 2D image and stuff, but there's still enough hinge there for your wrists here to there to give you the power. As you come back to the golf ball, head stays behind. Good strike. There's your head. Impact behind the ball was roughly, so far you're different colour, the ball was roughly about there, I suppose, as you hit it. Just about the line that's behind the ball, as you can see. And then through, no need to fold or release your arms. Your arms are just naturally unhinging, like you would do, say, chopping a tree with an axe. You hinge and unhinge. You wouldn't try and roll the hands over. Exactly. But from that unnatural position, you can create a more natural swing without having to try and think of it. The problem was that you were setting up in such a way as you before, where you had to try and create movements by using a lot of wrist hinge and stuff. And then when you came back to the golf ball, your head being ahead of the golf ball just gave you no space, Chris. You had no space to swing your arms. And if we look,
obviously I'm going to go away and play with that for a while.
But you look at that impact on the left-hand side there now. Your head's a good 6 or so inches in front of the ball. You shank it, the ball's squaring off sideways.
Right,
I mean, you're literally like that. I mean,
I'm glad you've been able to identify it, Gav. I mean, it's just nice to know you're not going berserk.
Exactly, mate.
Because you don't know what it is. I mean, you can't.
But you can't. And the thing is, the interesting thing was, you genuinely. It's not criticising you as a thought, because a lot of people have the same kind of thought. You felt when I said, what's impact look like? You were like, needs to be here. And you actually move forward, and you're already too far forward to start with. So if you were to move even further forward, I mean, your head...
wide open.
So the harder you try to move into that position, the worse it's going to get. Then the tension gets more, because you're now trying so damn hard to hit it. That gets worse and worse and worse. And you've just got no space for your arms to swing. Your arms want to be able to swing freely through impact, not have to try to roll and rip over the club face and square the face up in an unnatural way.
People say change your swing, it's not really, is it? It's
No.
changing your setup.
90.
It encourages you then, you've got to swing differently.
Well,
your hands are in different positions, your body's in a different position. So
if we change someone's setup, we visually change their swing. We're not changing their swing, but by changing a certain setup position and moving your hands there. So your right wrist now, in effect here, has a hinge. If your hands are back here, there ain't no hinge. So if you put your hands in that position back here, now try and hinge your wrist. Your wrist is already locked here. You can't do it. So you're getting a bit more of a wrist. And that way, exactly, mate. Yeah, it takes that doubt and the questioning of your swing. Am I doing this, and this, here, then everywhere, and then all you got to think about now is that club goes back. I think as a swing thought, just keep your head behind the ball.
The club face stays neutral to the ball as well.
Exactly. Exactly. You're not doing this rolling, twisting, curving. All I would say as a swing thought, and it's pretty sort of standard or simple, is to keep your head behind the ball. Just as you're back here, you start behind the ball, just feel like you're releasing your arms, and the sensation you'll start hopefully feeling is you've actually got more space for your arms to kind of just fling through and throw the target, rather than being stuck and trapped and got nowhere to go. Oh, beautiful swing, mate. Lovely strike. That's fine, Make sense, mate?
Yeah.